Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for Jinx AD carry. Um, you're really looking at a variation of a couple of the keystones here in Precision Tree. In Fleet of Footwork, Lethal Tempo, and Conqueror. Um, Usually don't see press the attack on Jinx as she she has to wind up her damage. She either has to build up the attack speed with her minigun, or she's either following up on her team's damage and then looking to like unleash on the enemy team like on all targets versus just beating down one. And um, yeah, with the keystones in Fleet of Footwork, it gives you more movement speed, it gives you the extra healing. With Lethal Tempo, it gives you more auto attacks because you get this attack speed steroid. And then with Conqueror, it gives you more AD and then healing once fully stacked. So starting off with the Fleet of Footwork is kind of like a luxury rune on Jinx where after attacking or moving, you build energy stacks. At 100 stacks, your next attack is energized. Energized attacks heal you for 3. Check that number out. 3 plus, or 3 to 60 based on your level, and then 0.3 AD, and then grants you an additional 20% movement speed. The healing is less effective against minions. With Fleet of Footwork, the extra healing might seem okay. The real value out of it is in the laning phase. It can be used as a trading tool if you're constantly trying to auto attack the enemy champion, but that's kind of a skill check at that point versus actual utility for Jinx. Where Jinx also has her Flame Chompers and Zap, and should be played with a support that can peel for her. The utility of Fleet of Footwork if an enemy champion is on top of her to help her get away is kind of whack, as you have other tools to get the champion off you versus a champion like Jhin where once the enemy is on top of him, then he needs the extra movement speed to get away or else he's not getting away. With Jinx, it's kind of just not the case. There should be allies ally champions to help her, and then also once the enemy champion's on top of her, you have the zap and the chompers to get them off or to run away from them. The offensive use of Fleet of Footwork is also just kind of whatever. It equates to an extra auto attack versus something like Lethal Tempo, where you get so many more auto attacks and equates to so much more damage if you're taking a neutral fight, and that's really where Jinx shines. So I really think that Fleet of Footwork is just super low value, as the healing becomes negligible and also just gets drastically outscaled come mid to late game, and it doesn't amplify your damage in any ways other than getting an extra auto attack on targets that are already running away because you have the extra movement speed towards them. With Lethal Tempo, after 1.5 seconds or 1.5 seconds after damaging an enemy champion, you gain 40 to 110 based on your level percent attack speed for 3 seconds. Attacking a champion extends this effect for 6 seconds, and it's only on a 6-second cooldown. So Lethal Tempo can be used in the early game to control the minion wave. Your Rocket 1 auto on the enemy will proc it, and then you can have more attack speed to push the wave into them. And then if you're taking a neutral fight where you're literally just trading auto for auto on the enemy, then if you're in minigun form, you're just simply getting more auto attacks off. So you can build up your attack speed with that and then transform into Rocket with Lethal Tempo and then get more ranged autos at a range where the enemy AD can't trade back as well. And then with the attack speed, since you're attacking faster, it will help you kite the enemy at a better rate. So Lethal Tempo is super high value. Once you start building, or once you start getting more items, then it also retains its value as you're building a lot of attack damage early in Infinity Edge, Storm Razors, etc. And the more attack speed you get from Lethal Tempo per level, the more value the attack damage has, as you have more attack speed, so you therefore just get more auto attacks off, and that's a lot of what Jinx is looking to do, just auto attack. So Lethal Tempo becomes really, really good for Jinx. And if the enemy's on top of her, get this, if you have more auto attacks, then you're literally healing more from your lifesteal because you're hitting them more versus healing 3 from Fleet of Footwork. Think about it. With Conqueror is a generally bad option on Jinx, but it can be kind of like this late game fantasy where there is a point in which Conqueror outscales Lethal Tempo potentially. With Conqueror, basic attacks or spells that deal damage to enemy champions grant you 2 stacks of Conqueror. It's 1 per auto attack for range, so it's even worse for range champions. And then every stack gives you bonus attack damage, and then this stacks up to 10 times. Once fully stacked, you heal for 15% of the damage you deal to champions. Since Jinx deals AoE damage with her rockets, and then you also have the W and R to deal AoE damage, the healing can kind of be significant. But the likelihood that you land it all, and then where you would need the healing anyways, that is so unlikely. And whenever you don't have lethal tempo, you're losing out on a laning tool, you're losing out on a lot of attack speed for the early objective fights, and to build up Conqueror in a fight too is also really hard. So like maybe if you're playing in the LCK, you would have situations in which you could use Conqueror effectively on Jinx, but other than that, this rune's really hard to make use out of, because to build it up takes a long time in a fight, and then for Jinx to get value out of it, she needs to be hitting multiple targets with her rockets and abilities to be getting value out of the healing, and then she would already had to have taken damage for that to even matter. So I think your best Keystone option is going to be Lethal Tempo. For the secondary rune options, you have good options in Overheal, Triumph, or Presence of Mind. You're really choosing a shield, HP on kills and assist, and then extra mana with Presence of Mind. Jinx can make use of the mana. She can make use of the healing on kills and assist. You can also make use of the healing from Overheal, as you can build double Dorns into BF Sword early game. I think Overheal is going to be your best bet, as with Jinx, you're a really fragile champion, and the benefit of Overheal is that it effectively gives you more HP. And despite the support matchup, it helps you trade no matter what, and when you enter the fight with just more HP, if you enter a 2v2 bot lane, a dragon fight, etc., you're effectively just always having more HP because of Overheal. And that's really strong. With Triumph, maybe if you have a Wombo combo based team comp, then Triumph would be like, it'd be more likely that it would be giving you value. As Triumph, you need to get a kill or assist before you get the HP restored, versus having the effective health from Overheal at all stages. With Presence of Mind, takedowns restore 12% of your, or 20% of your maximum mana, and then permanently increases by 100. This is like pure luxury on Jinx, but the luxury does feel pretty good, as you can get more ranged autos off with her Q because of it. So maybe it's something with team comps. I'm not entirely sure, but most of the time I think you're going to be getting your best value out of Overheal. But Presence of Mind isn't bad. Think about it. For the third rune here, you have the good option in Alacrity or Bloodline. Alacrity giving you attack speed, and Bloodline giving you Lifesteal. I think Bloodline's going to be your best option, as the Lifesteal is pretty much always going to outweigh Alacrity, because it's really hard to itemize into Lifesteal early. Other than like getting 2 Dorn Blades early, you have to invest about 800 gold for a Vamp Scepter to get about the same amount of Lifesteal you'd get from Bloodline eventually. And with Alacrity, that's only like 300 gold for a dagger versus like the 800 for the lifesteal, in terms of just the pure itemization, not the gold value offered by the rune. And with Jinx, you're building a lot of AD early, and a lot of what Jinx needs to do is like sustain hit for hit with the lifesteal that she has. So having the lifesteal from the rune is going to make you not only healthier in the lane phase, but also healthier in a fight, inevitably, because you're healing per hit, and it also has more synergy with Lethal Tempo, as you're getting more auto attacks off, and then you're healing more because of that. So fantastic rune. Bloodline would be healing you more than Fleet of Footwork ever fucking would. 3 healing. Are you like? Anyways, Coup de Grace, 8% more damage to champions who are below 40% health. Basically, always going to be your better option if you're playing into like Trundle, Zac, Maokai, Ornn, and I don't know, another Maokai, then Cut Down's going to be pretty good. Cut Down, you deal 5 to 50% more damage to champions based on how much more maximum health they have than you. So yeah, if you're against a lot of tanks, then Cut Down can be pretty good on Jinx, as she needs like every hit to matter. With Coup de Grace though, and in most games, Coup de Grace is going to be giving you more value, as you're just simply dealing more damage to targets who are low on health, and Jinx is like about getting resets anyways, and with most AD carries, you have a lot of like upfront burst, and then you want to finish the target off, and that's how Jinx functions too. You would lead with like a rocket auto into W, into lethal tempo proc, into just running the enemy down with like 4 or 5 autos into an ult, and you'd be amplifying all that damage with coup de grace. So it would also have synergy with their ult, whether it be in a 2v2 or just a cross map ult. So that's that. For the secondary runes, it's going to be Nimbus Cloak, Gathering Storm, just really basic utility runes for AD carry. Where Jinx is a stationary AD carry too, Nimbus Cloak gets really high value. With Nimbus Cloak, after you cast a summoner spell, you gain bonus movement speed. Increase that lasts for 2.5 seconds and allows you to pass through units. The increase is higher based on the cooldown of the summoner spell cast. So when you're casting Flash, you're getting the most movement speed increase, and then if you're casting Heal, Barrier, or even Cleanse, then the movement speed is going to be a little less, but the movement speed offered from those is still going to be really impactful, as you are playing in the bot lane, and bot and top lane are the longer lanes in League of Legends. So even if you heal, you're not going to get all the distance through bot lane. But with Nimbus Cloak, it does help you just get further away from the enemy whenever you cast it. So in just the laning phase, you can get a lot of value out of it to avoid the jungler from minutes like 7 to 10 without having to blow your flash. And then in team fights, the extra movement speed offered is also just really, really lame for the enemy to have to deal with, where they finally get on top of you and you just simply press heal and you can just get like 4, 5, 6 Teemos away from them. It's fucking insane. And that in combination with your flash too, it just gives you a lot of utility to play around, as you're effectively just getting more distance away from the enemy, and that's everything that an AD carry champion wants, especially one that's as stationary as Jinx. With Gathering Storm, you gain bonus attack damage every 10 minutes in the game. Most games you're just sitting on the 14 AD offered from this, and that's completely fine. The reason you wouldn't run Absolute Focus is while you're above 70% health, you gain bonus attack damage from this, but the attack damage from this is based on your level. And you also have to be at above 70% health, so that's not going to be at all stages on AD carry. And then where it's based on your level, AD carry doesn't get the most levels in the game, not even close. It's the mid and top lane that do. And with AD carry, you're usually capping out around level like 9 to like 12 or 13 come mid to late game. And yeah, so there's like a very brief window in which Absolute Focus barely gives more attack damage than Gathering Storm, but then past 20 minutes, Gathering Storm's always going to be giving you more attack damage. So that's that. You do have the secondary rune option in Inspiration, where you could run Free Boots Biscuits. You could also run Perfect Timing and Biscuits. Perfect Timing is going to be giving you higher value most of the time, as you have the one-time stopwatch to avoid basically just immediate death. So whenever you're playing into a lane like Leona, Kaisa, or the enemy solo lane picks champions like Zed, Talon, Kiana, Irelia, etc., then Perfect Timing makes it so that even if those champions get on top of you, they don't necessarily kill you the first time. The problem with this is that Jinx doesn't have like great itemization to Guardian Angel, even if like you're building its second or third item. So, but the one-time stopwatch can be pretty effective, especially at higher MMRs. But where Jinx makes such good use out of Nimbus Cloak, you're really not outweighing that with even with the dodge everything move of Perfect Timing, and you're especially not outweighing it with Free Boots. So this is kind of a older rune page that I suppose people would still run, but Nimbus Cloak is just outweighing it by a lot. So you would have to outweigh the movement speed gain from this, and then the attack damage from Gathering Storm, and saving 300 gold and getting a little bit of extra mana, not really doing it, man. So that's how I think, or that's what I think about that. And then for the shards, get this, it's going to be attack speed, attack damage, and armor on an AD carry. Wow. Attack speed giving you more attacks per second, and with the shards you have to just think like it's just for the early game, so your levels like 1 to 6 is why you're running these. The attack speed is going to help you manage the wave, and that's effectively all you're doing as the AD carry early. The attack damage giving you more damage on your auto attacks and then on your abilities as well. Since you're playing in the bot lane, the armor is really necessary. You're going to be taking physical damage from minions and 2 enemy champions. So you are negating a lot of damage with just this +6 armor. So that's that. Nothing really too crazy with Jinx runes, as you'd probably expect. So I hope I explained like why I thought the different keystones aren't as high value as lethal tempo. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. And if you are interested in watching me play or talk about League of Legends, you can check out my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SarNelson. Just don't ask me to play Jinx. I like Varus, you know? He can ult. Get this. He can like ult. That's crazy.